The head coach right now of the Oregon State Beavers is with us right now. Coach, appreciate you giving us some time here. Congrats on the class. But I started off the conversation with Yogi about the success you guys had a season ago. 2 wins a couple campaigns ago, 5 last year. How different is recruiting this year compared to when you first got the job?
Yeah, there's no question that winning helps in recruiting. And I think we did show that we're headed in a good direction. Being more competitive, winning some close games and then losing some close games, but showing progress from year 1 to year 2 and being able to sell that message to recruits and their families definitely help, and we felt it in this class.
Coach, when I look at this class and really every class you've had, guys coming out of high school maybe aren't ranked as high as other players, but you signed 7 guys over the last 2 years that are quote-unquote 4-star players coming out of high school. Like, how has the creativity continued among your staff building this roster completely?
Well, we're definitely always evaluating, kind of looking for the right fit for our place, and there's really good players that fit our place, and then we're going to go chase them and let them know what Oregon State playing here is all about, and the coaches and who they surround themselves in the locker room, showing the progression, not only just of year 1 to year 2, but also the multiple examples of guys coming that have played at Oregon State and gone on and played in the NFL, because most of these guys want to chase that dream of playing at the highest level, and they've got an opportunity to do it here. And I think, again, that message has been resounding in a lot of homes of recruits.
So I want to talk about a home of a recruit. I had a chance to talk to Isaiah Newell, running back recruit for you guys. He's a fascinating young man. He's gone through a lot. You know, went through a tragic car accident when he was 11, then lost his father as he was older as a teenager. What have you learned about this guy, and how's he going to fit into the ethos of the program?
Yeah, you talk about a first-class individual, but his work ethic. You know, his mom, Robin, does an awesome job of continuing to teach character to him. He's a good football player that loves to play the game. I think he's going to be a great fit for our locker room, and his passion for improvement. He's a physical runner, and he's got good size that, you know, get into the weight room. He's going to be a force in this conference.
Coach, Yogi made reference to some of the guys that you brought into this program. I feel like the last couple of years when I've been on campus with you, we do talk about transfers that can really provide a boost. The portal itself has created a lot of conversation nationally around college football. Your program in particular in this conference may be doing the best job of everyone dipping into that portal and making sure that you're getting some pretty good guys as well. How do you and your staff evaluate some of those players and figure out who is a right fit when guys already have college experience?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because we just want to use every avenue that we can to add to this roster. And now with the transfer portal, that's one avenue we want to be able to take advantage of. Some of the guys that we've been able to get had previous relationships through coaches when they were getting recruited at high schools. We definitely do a lot of background and homework on these guys, talking to the current roster they're on once they're on the portal. And not every guy on the portal is a fit for Oregon State or any school, and so you got to do a ton of homework on them. But once they're on there and we feel like they're a fit, we're going to chase all avenues to better our roster.
Some of the guys that might be chasing some receivers and maybe locking them down, I love your JC secondary. You could argue, I mean, I know you returned some players there, but all 4 of them I feel like could play. Rajon Wright, Alton Julian being 2 headliners for me. What do you think about their skill set and their opportunity to impact early on defense?
No question. Those 2 guys you mentioned, we wanted to get longer. We wanted to go into a little bit older player in the secondary to complement what we had going back. And Rajon, Alton Julian, even Jonathan Riley's safety, you know, all have length. We want to make that room even more competitive. We're excited about Alton Julian, especially he's got 3 years to play. We're not talking about just a 2-year player at junior college. So I think we've added some depth to that room, and all 3 of those guys will have the opportunity to compete right away.
Coach, I remember being on campus 2 years ago, walking off the practice field with you, and you made reference to your team's defense. You felt good about the offense. You said, hey, these guys just got to come up with some stops. If we get that, we'll be okay. Last 2 seasons, you've now had some growth here. Yogi just asked you about the secondary. Just big picture this for me. Your team's defense right now, how confident do you feel like there's another big-time jump based off of what we saw last year?
Yeah, I am confident that we need to make that jump. We do got a lot of players, especially up front, defensively coming back. Feel awesome about this coaching staff and our players' efforts in regards to work ethic, and so they're going to improve, and we can make a big step. That's some of the reason we went in the emphasis of older players in the secondary, because we felt confident what we got coming back in the front 7, and if we get that back end even playing at a higher level, I think we can be a really good defense.
Now, Coach, talking about this team, the defense is going to continue to improve. Offensively, you've always been successful there. Within the current roster you have now, I'm curious about Jamar Jefferson. I mean, this is a guy who was a freshman All-American, banged up a little bit last year. How's his offseason been? What's the status of his health? And do you expect him to be the feature back that can carry the load in spring and then, of course, the fall?
Yeah, we're counting on him in a big way. You know, he did have the monster freshman year, dealt with some things this second year injury-wise. He's been working out. He's feeling better. But we need him to be able to have the big year that we think he can, because we are losing some guys, some production offensively. But with Jamar coming back, the scheme we run, we can feature him, and we hope to see that this fall and him having a big-time year.
Coach, you mentioned some of those pieces that you're losing. Isaiah Hodgins was probably one of two of the most entertaining wide receivers that we had last season in this conference. I think Michael Pittman, probably that other guy. You lose him. In terms of the replacement, playmakers on the outside, I mean, Oregon State's had a pretty good tradition of having some good wide receivers. Who's that next wave?
Yeah, you know, we're going to count on the group kind of competing for that in the spring, and we've got some guys that have played. Trayvon Bradford gets his an additional year, redshirts last year. He'll be counted on big. Tyjon Lindsey, Colby Taylor, Josiah Irish needs to again take a step, and so we've got a group in there that we feel good about. And so you're right, though. We got to find a way for those guys to replace that production, because Hodgins was so good and really so productive in the red zone, scoring so many touchdowns for us.
Yogi, did Coach Smith just make reference to Champ, or did he not say his name? Because last time I checked, he is. Well,
Champ is back too. That's right.
I mean, I might be like a half-inch taller than him, so he really is my hero whenever he comes up with a big play on the football field. Just to be clear, do not forget about my guy Champ.
Oh, I don't. He's a fan favorite in our place too, beyond you guys.
Oh, I love that. All right, Coach, I want to take us into like the coaching staff right now. Last year, there were so many tight games. Mike referenced one-score games. 2 your first year. Last year, you had a handful of tight ones. How do you shore up in off-season programs, workouts, etc., a mindset of closing things out, in your opinion?
Yeah, you talk a lot about finish, and we got into some of the specifics after being able to digest the season, and you're right on. I mean, we had multiple games that came down to one possession, whether it's offensively being able to finish on the field with the ball to run the clock out, or flip side 2 minute and be able to get some stops. And so that'll be a point of emphasis in heading into spring ball, putting those guys in those situations more, recreating the game for them. Because if we can take that next step in that regard on finishing games, we feel good about our chances this fall.
Coach, it was an absolute joy to watch your football team close the gap, continue to improve a season ago. You had us on the edge of our seats in a lot of these games. I'm sure you'd prefer to be on the other end of some of those close ones as well. Something tells me it's going to happen for your team this upcoming season. So best of luck this offseason. Enjoy a little bit of downtime, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay, I appreciate it, guys. Always good coming on.